Will inflation I-bonds really give me a 10% return on my investment risk-free? When is the best time to buy I-bonds? What the heck are I-bonds again? Hey folks, if you don't yet have I-bonds, well, this is financial advice. Get yourself some I-bonds. You see, I-bonds give you interest in correlation to the rate of inflation, which, as you know, in the prior year, we've had some peak rates of inflation. You can check out my last video right here on what exactly I-bonds are, how they work, all the basics, all the fun stuff, along with a step-by-step tutorial on how to buy I-bonds, because, well, that's how awesome I am. Now, if you purchased I-bonds anytime between November 2021 and April of 2022, know that you are entitled to a 7.12% return on your investment on those I-bonds for the first 6 months that you hold those bonds. The latter 6 months interest rate will be determined as we approach May of 2022, because that's when the new adjustment will be made to match the current rate of inflation. Now, if you are watching this video early, know that the information might not yet be available on the Treasury Direct website. However, given the recent reading of inflation released in the second week of April, the I-bond interest rate starting in May of 2022 should be just around 9.62%. I'll get into how to calculate that in just a second, but first, please do me a solid, hit that like button, and also consider subscribing if you appreciate videos like this. Now, if this information isn't yet available on the Treasury Direct website, then how can we determine this interest rate? Well, just know that the I-bonds interest rate is calculated using a rocket scientist equation consisting of both a fixed interest rate and a variable interest rate. The fixed will likely be 0, and as for the variable, well, that's directly correlated to the rate of inflation. If we take a look at the recent readings of inflation, we'll notice that the March 2022 CPI-U was just about 287.504, while back in September of 2021, which was 6 months ago, the CPI-U was 274.31. The CPI-U, as the Bureau of Labor Statistics puts it, is a monthly measure of the average change over time in prices paid by consumers for a market basket of consumer goods and services. So if you take the March CPI number and divide by the September 2021 CPI number, you can calculate the semi-annual or the 6-month inflation rate to be 1.0481 or 4.81% higher. Now, to annualize this, all you have to do is double that number. So 4.81 times 2 is 9.62. So for the next 6 months, we can expect, as of May 2022, the new interest rate for I-bonds to be just about 9.62%. So moral of the story is, if you're watching this video in April of 2022, you should absolutely be buying these I-bonds as quickly as possible. And here's why. You know for a fact that you are locking in that 7.12% interest rate for the first 6 months that you hold these bonds. And you also know, as a result of this video and as a result of the recent reading of inflation, that the next 6 months of interest will be 9.62%. If you instead wait to buy these bonds in May of 2022, then yes, you will be locking that 9.62% interest for the first 6 months. But what happens in that next 6 months? Nobody knows if interest rates will go up or down at that point in time. So it's better to lock in what you have now. You know, 7.12% interest is still a really big deal, and so is 9.62%. I hope it makes it clear that if you buy those I-bonds right now, you will basically be locking in a guaranteed 8.37% return on your investment over a 12-month time frame if you average the 7.12% interest rate and the 9.62 interest rate. And if you miss the boat, know that you will lock in your 9.62% interest rate for the first 6 months, and that'll either average up or average down as the next interest rate is determined probably in November of 2022. If you have any questions, feel free to comment down below, and also, again, check out my other video, my initial video on how to purchase I-bonds and everything A to Z about I-bonds. And also consider subscribing to my channel if you do appreciate content like this. Thank you for watching.